Hello and welcome to Building the Premier Accounting Firm. I'm your host, Roger Knecht, president of Universal Accounting Center. And for many a years now, I've been working with accounting professionals to help them actually start and build successful businesses, working with individuals to market and sell their services so that they can grow and get the clients they deserve, offering quality accounting services to take care of their clients' needs, and work efficiently and profitably to get paid what they're worth. It's here in this show that we invite guests, experts in their own right, to actually help us understand what it is we can be doing to work on our businesses and, in fact, have that premier accounting firm in our area. Now, as it relates to today's guest, this happens to be someone I've known for some time now. James is an individual that I've known for years, met with him on a number of occasions, and I'm honored to say he is our most common or popular guest in the fact that he's actually been on the show the most. So, James, it's an honor to have you back.
It's so great to be here, Roger. And I got to say, hosting my own podcast, that is an incredible intro. If you have all of that stored off the top of your head, because I'm good for about 2 lines before I mess up what I'm going to say.
Well, having done now over 300 episodes, it starts to become kind of rhythmic. It's just kind of there. And once you figure out exactly what you're trying to say, it kind of rolls off the tongue, fortunately. So I trust it will come.
Yeah, it sounded really good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Well, for my new listeners, let me just give some context. James happens to be the visionary behind 92 Media and Accounting Leads Now. He happens to actually work with accounting professionals to help them grow their businesses and get the clients they deserve. So, James, what more would you say about yourself?
That's an amazing intro. Recently published a book, which I'm super excited about, going into a lot of the topics we'll probably discuss today. But yeah, we've been working with accounting firms for about the last 4.5 years now. A lot of different strategies on how to find either their first couple clients when getting started, or once they're already up and running, how to get a consistent system in place where they never have to rely on referrals again, which, as we all know, a lot of accounting firms do that.
Yeah, that is true. So there's a few things that I wanted to talk about today, the book being one of them. But to set the stage for the book, let me just kind of do this. Why write a book?
A big piece of the book was, how can I get the knowledge out there to help the niche that we work in? That was huge. Another piece of it was from an authoritative play, a mastermind that I'm a part of, which I believe every business owner, whatever niche you're in, should be in. So all of the students who are working with you and your team, they're doing the right thing, because without following someone else's footsteps who's done the thing, you're playing business on hard mode.
Yeah.
And so the group that I'm a part of, my mentor strongly encourages everyone to have a book to really help develop that authority within your space. And then, I mean, you can use it in so many different ways after: handing it out to guests at a conference, which I was able to do at yours. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Sending it as to prospects who you're speaking with, sending it as gifts to existing clients. There's a lot of different vehicles after, but the biggest thing is, yeah, how can I just add more value to the niche or the industry that I'm working in?
All those things that you shared there as it relates to the book, phenomenal, because you're so right. It becomes this marketing piece that's so much more than a brochure. It's an authority play, because now that you're an author, you're able to actually use that in your marketing to send out to potential clients, and it helps them see you as exactly who you are, the expert. For those existing clients, it gives them a better understanding of the services that you offer, and it hopefully helps them kind of retain your services longer, only because they can better understand what they can utilize you for. It's just one thing after another, and although it's very time consuming to create, and although it's very expensive to actually have, it's something you can amortize over years. I mean, once you've written a book, you're now always an author. Once you have the book, it's something that you can send out this month, a year from now, 2 years from now, because you are still that expert in that field. And as needed, you can revise the book, update the book. But in reality, it is still that ultimate thing that essentially says you're the expert to be working with. So great part on your place of writing the book and coming up with it. So here's the next question I'd want to kind of dive into is, you have the book, you use the book, but let's talk about it from an accounting perspective. When you're working with accounting professionals, you're obviously talking about marketing and getting clients that they deserve. There is that transition that takes place from doing it themselves to hiring a firm like yours to actually help them grow their business. What do you think is that big pivotal moment where they actually say, it's time for me to transition from doing it all myself to hiring a service like your own?
I would put it, kind of look at it through a different lens of, who are the clients you're helping, and when did they decide I've been doing my bookkeeping all on my own. I've been trying to do my accounting on my own. It's only gotten me so far. Why don't I just go and hire a professional to help me with the bookkeeping, help me with the accounting, help me with the strategic thinking? There's Everyone's an expert in their own right, but you can't be an expert in every area.
Hmm.
And I know for me, we got to a point where it was like, okay, I was dreading every tax season, and that's never going to disappear. That's coming around every single year. So rather than having this looming date and a mountain of receipts to go through, it was like, well, it was time to hire someone to actually do this so I can go focus and spend more time that's higher leverage activity. So that would be my, I guess, advice or thought for someone who's looking to, I guess, just grow out of trying to do everything yourself.
I
You
love that
hire the
advice. No.
expert to do the thing that they're inevitably going to do better than you, and you can focus on stuff that's going to make you more money.
I've yet to meet an accountant that got into accounting services because they were excited about marketing. So at some point, it only makes sense that eventually they're going to say, it's time for me to outsource it. So I think that makes sense because that's the same mantra we use as accounting professionals to our clients. No client got into business to actually offer or do accounting. What they were trying to do is what they love, their product, their service. There comes a time for them to outsource it simply because of the fact that it needs to be done, but it's a distraction from what it is that they love to do. So that's how we sell our services. Why not sell yours the same
Yeah.
way? So that makes sense. So let's kind of dive into the book, because one of the things that I'd like to do is give everyone as a listener a taste of what it is that you've covered in the book so well as it relates to marketing accounting services. And one of the things that I'd like to really kind of focus on here, each of the chapters, and from an author's point of view, kind of get your perspective as to why you felt these chapters were so essential to writing the book. And the first one that you actually start with happens to actually be right here. Let me turn to it. I'm in chapter 1. Here we go. It's unlocking the secrets of SEO for your accounting firm. And one of the things that I thought was important is you really start the book by targeting the online aspect of your business. What is it that my listeners should understand or know about SEO? What does SEO mean?
So search engine optimization will hopefully be the most complex marketing term I use explaining all of this. But
Okay.
if you just think about, again, your own buying decisions and pattern, what does someone do? You jump online, you're likely going to Google, you're searching for the thing you need, whether it's plumber near me or best dentist in Philadelphia, whatever it is. Then from there, you're going to see all of the businesses that pop up. You're going to start seeing links to other people's websites. It's the exact same thing for your bookkeeping and accounting firm. People are going to Google first. So why not be visible where people are looking? They're not going to magically know your website and go directly there. They're going through Google first. So you have to be visible in Google so they can get onto your website. There's so many firms that talk about how they bought a new website and how great it is. That's awesome. But if no one knows how to get to the site, they're not going to see this amazing site you have that you're so passionate about. So
Yeah,
just
it's
be
like
where
any
people are, just be where people are going to find you.
Yeah, it's like any business. You can have a wonderful establishment, but unless people know where you're at or where to find you, they're never going to know about your existence and know what you have to offer. So I think that's very important. But you actually do something really important here, and I really want to kind of highlight this. It's a quick audit that you actually give, and you bullet point some things out here that I think are healthy exercises for us to each do for our business. And the first of which is just to Google yourself and your city, just the services that you offer, like bookkeeping services in Sandy, Utah, for example. And all of a sudden, you're going to see who shows up as it relates to that search. Why do you think that's such a valuable exercise for my listeners to do?
Because it gives you insight on what your potential clients are searching and who's showing up. And
Hmm.
majority of the time, it's going to be your competitors if you haven't done anything to take that real estate. And now you have a benchmark of who you want to get in front of. You can go look at their website, see what they're doing. You can look at how many reviews they have, just see how their pages are set up and mimic them because they're ahead of you. And
Yep.
then from there, after you put in some time doing that, keep searching, see how it's showing up. I would recommend doing it on incognito mode because that's something a lot of people think as well. They search their page a bunch, then they're like, "Oh, I show up at the top." It's like, well, no, because you searched it so many times from the same IP address. Look at it, on incognito mode. How is it actually showing up for everyone else?
I love that. No, it's excellent advice. The incognito mode is really what you need to be doing just so you can get that perspective that you talked about. The other thing that you mentioned is reviews. One of the things that you're talking about here is looking at other people's reviews to see what people are actually saying. And then eventually we're going to talk about reviews for our own services. But why is it important to look at the reviews of other firms?
Again, it's seeing how other people are interacting, what services maybe you need to be focused on, what do people care about? You see that in the reviews. That's what's going to keep your customers coming back to you. Again, you can look internally and think, okay, we do great bookkeeping and this is what we're the best at. But maybe it's the communication that other customers are really happy with your competitors. So it's not as much about making sure everything lines up, which is super important, but it's how quick are you to respond to every client who's reaching out to you? Because sometimes what people are leaving in the review is what's going to keep them coming back and paying you month after month after month.
Perfect. Now, as it relates to Google, it only makes sense. The next thing, in my opinion, is when you talk about the Google business listing or business listing itself. Why is that so important as it relates to running a company and having that Google listing that Google offers?
Yeah, I'm just gonna keep going back because it's where people are looking first is on Google. So if you're showing up in the map, people can see you. It adds authority. It shows that you're real. People want to see that it's a real business. There's pictures on there. They're verified. It just adds that level of trust compared to if you see someone's listing where they don't have any hours, there's no pictures loaded, there's no address. It just looks there's a lot of trust that gets lost. Like I'm not going to reach out to a firm that it looks like they don't have anything online. There's nothing to trust there. There's nothing to make that a judgment. If you see if you're comparing apples to apples and there's a firm that has a ton of pictures, has a ton of reviews, all of their information is up to date. It's like, oh, that's a real business. Let me call them.
Yeah, one of the things that I really appreciate about a Google listing is, first of all, it's free. It's basically a free website.
Yeah,
Second of all, if you do what Google wants, Google is going to put you at the top of the listings as it relates to offering your services when people are searching, simply because of the fact that you're playing their game. And so when you have your Google listing and you take the time to put in your hours of business and the days of operation, you go in there and list your services as to what it is you provide and offer. When you put out there, obviously, some pictures, as you were mentioning, to give yourself credibility. I'm a viable business. This is where I'm at. This is what I do. Taking pictures of yourself, your staff, and so forth. All of a sudden, what happens is Google says, well, this is a viable business and one that's using my platform, Google's platform. So let's go ahead and put them at the top of the list as it relates to searches that are relevant. So it's basically playing the game as Google would like you to be, because they don't want to ultimately send traffic off to another website. As long as they can retain it on their platform, they're excited. So having that Google listing is a powerful way of leveraging their system to your advantage. Wouldn't you agree?
100%. And what you said there is so true. You get a free website. You could not even you could get by with not having another site to send someone to. You could have a really simple landing page, but let your Google business profile do all the heavy lifting, and Google is going to reward you for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of firms that don't have one. Oh, I don't need one, or I don't work with people locally, or whatever it is. It's free, and it's arguably one of the most valuable things you could have for your business.
Love
So
it.
even if you're working with people outside of your local market, have a Google listing page. You will not regret having one.
One of the things that I think you said there is so important. So many people will say, well, I don't work with geographically local businesses. I work with anyone and everyone everywhere. I'm a niche, so therefore I work with anyone everywhere. Well, the point is Google wants to actually highlight you, but if it doesn't know who you are on their platform, they're not going to put forth your listing. And so even if it's not that you want business in your geographic area, you want the listing, because just like Universal Accounting Center, we're an international school. We work with accounting professionals around the United States and elsewhere. Well, that being said, as we're working with accounting professionals around the world, my Google listing in Draper, Utah isn't as relevant as perhaps you might think if I want a business from down the street, but it still is important in all the searches that are happening, simply because Google realizes this is an established business. It's got hours of operation and it's willing to communicate that information to my potential customers. And that's what I want. So that's important. All right. So because of the listings, this is the next thing that I think is very important. Is we've talked about the reviews, but it's also the consistency of our information. And one of the things that you talk about is the name, the phone number, the address, that so often these are actually shown in different formats and they're sometimes not even accurate. In fact, you've got a story as it relates to phone numbers that I know you can share. Why is this audit of how our information is appearing online so important?
It's super important. Actually, I have one story that I think you're asking me to share, and I can get to that one, but really quick to make it even more relatable and a real life experience. Just this morning, I was calling car rental companies to get a car rental. I had an accident with mine, and I've called a bunch, and there was no cars around. So as I was going down the list, one of the numbers I called, it said it was a different company. I was checking off who I called. One of the numbers I called, it brought me back to another business. It was like, how do you guys have someone else's business on your Google business page? You're It's crazy. And to the story you're probably looking to get to, we had an HVAC client. Once we started working them, we were doing an audit of their page, and on their Google business profile, they had a number. Then we went to their website and they had two different numbers on there. One of them was highlighted, and we asked the owner, "Where does this number go? You have two different ones on here." He's like, I don't know what that number is." We called it. It was going to a competitor in his area. No idea how it got on their site. It was before we got in there working with them. Maybe a different company put it there in the past, whatever it was. But the point is, he was running ads, spending a lot of money, wondering why he's not getting as many calls as he would like. Well, people are going on his site and calling his competitor, and he was paying for his competitor to get all this business. So it's so important to check where you're listed so that you just have consistency. And again, you start playing business on easy mode because you're going to funnel stuff into your own business. You're not sending it elsewhere. Everyone works so hard to get their business. Make it easy for your customers to get a hold of you.
Yeah, being in business as we have for nearly 30 years, I can give you horror stories regarding this, and two that I can mention. One, I had a place where the phone number was not all the digits. It was missing all the digits needed for the phone number. Another place, we actually had a phone number listed and it was transposed. And so it was basically the right numbers in the wrong order. Well, that doesn't work. And then the third example happens to be, because of how we've been in business, we've actually had a number of numbers, but when we changed phone systems, there were a few that we didn't port over, and therefore we let those expire. As we let those expire, what ended up happening, unfortunately, is those numbers were then reassigned to someone else. What turns out that we didn't have the phone number anymore, but yet it was listed on our website. And so there are these simple things that over time you would assume wouldn't be an issue, but they just came up. Somebody just in putting the number, put it in wrong. Somebody didn't put the complete number. Somebody actually had a phone number that we let expire and we didn't realize it was appearing on our site someplace and we needed to update it and didn't do it. I mean, there's a story upon a story upon a story. And in one case, we moved 10 years ago our headquarters. And in that migration, clearly we had to do a lot of updates as it related to addresses. But unfortunately, there are some places that just were missed. And because of that, missed opportunities come about. And it's sad when years later you find these mistakes, but they unfortunately do happen. So I can relate to all of those. Now, let's talk about local service ads. You spend some time in your book talking about these. And I think these are very important for my listeners to understand, because this is now where we're getting into some paid type things. What can you say about local service ads?
Uh, Local service ads it's a steroid. If you're looking to get qualified calls and appointments, and I'm so happy you're bringing this up. It's just the the one of the reasons it works so well is because accounting firms have not clued in yet that this is amazing. So there's not a lot of competition if you're running local service ads compared to if you're a plumbing company running them, where everyone in the area who's a plumber is using local service ads. So it's harder to win business. There's so many cities that we've brought on clients with, but no one in the area is running them. So they just get the top placement regardless of how well the ad performs. That's amazing.
Yeah.
But local service ads is really cool because it's a pay per call model. So if the phone doesn't ring, it doesn't cost you anything. Unlike if you're advertising on Facebook, you don't get any leads for a couple of days while you're spending whatever that daily amount is times the amount of days. Local service ads, if the call is not qualified, meaning someone's asking for a service you don't have checked off on the settings of the ad, Google likely credits you back for that call. So you just get to sit back and wait for someone who search for your service, who has a need, They're getting on the solution side of things, looking to hire you. You just sit back and wait to answer the phone and say, yeah, we can do that for X, instead of marketing out to the masses and hopefully find someone with a pain. You can sit back and wait for people to call you who know they have a need. That's what I love about local service ads. Just
I'm going to
works
have to agree
so
with you
well.
because I pay for local service ads and I pay for advertising. And you're right, giving the HVAC analogy, they're paying hundreds of dollars for a phone call. And because it's so competitive, you're right, it becomes very costly. But in the accounting space, to advertise for certain services, when someone types in a keyword, those can be very inexpensive just because the local service ads just don't have that competition. No one else is out there in those particular
Yeah.
markets advertising for it. So if you happen to be a fortunate person who lives in an area where this isn't being advertised, clearly you got the advantage if you just chose to spend a few dollars in that space. So I think that's a phenomenal thing. And in the book, you address it a lot more in detail. The next happens to be local content strategy. What does that actually mean?
So, local content strategy, that again ties into your Google business profile. On your Google business profile, you have an opportunity to add updates, which are essentially blog posts on your page.
Mm-hmm.
Not a lot of people are going to read them, but when you look at someone's Google business page, it just adds more content. It makes the page look complete, which adds more trust, adds more authority. So, adding your content pieces in there, we do them weekly for our clients. And again, it's a lot of what are people searching? What are people searching in order to find your service? Best dental practice or best accounting for dental practices in New York. So then you write an article on why you're the best dental practice in New York and you have those keywords listed. A really easy thing to do is go to askthepublic.com, start seeing what are people looking for, put that content or put that idea into ChatGPT and give it the prompt, hey, this is what I want to talk about. Let it create you an article, and then obviously go back and comb it so it doesn't look like it's AI written. That's really big caveat here. There's a lot of people just leave the first draft and they publish it.
Uh-huh.
Or think about, what are my prospects asking me on sales calls? What are clients asking me? And then write that as content. Because if one person's asking it, 10 others are thinking it.
Oh, I love that. Excellent statement there. Yeah, if one person's thinking it or saying it, there's others that are thinking it. So this is where the book really takes a good turn. And I think we've addressed a lot of the low-hanging fruit areas, some of the obvious quick fixes to anyone's marketing strategy. And your book does a great job of explaining those. But now it moves into the place of now positioning yourself as an authority. And I think this is really where I'd like to spend a little bit of time, kind of on a high level, rather than diving into the particulars of the book, but just talk first and foremost about why it's so important to position yourself as the authority as it relates to a customer considering as a prospect your services.
Well, it almost answers itself, right? You
Mhm.
people lean and tend to go where that authoritative figure is, and you have so much more trust, and people hang on to more of the words you're saying. So if you are able to be in front of your prospects all the time providing value, a big thing I think about in people who I've followed for a while before buying into their program or buying whatever the thing is, if this is how good their free stuff is, what is their paid stuff going to look like? And if you can provide more value and you have reels that go out or you have articles and you're almost giving away the play, people are going to look at that and think, again, wow, if this is the free stuff, how great is the paid stuff going to be? And it makes the ask a lot easier when you do go in for that ask for business, because you've already built up so much goodwill with all of the free value you've given out.
And from an accounting perspective, when you're especially working with the clients that you do, what are some of the things that have been effective authority plays? I mean, clearly, obviously, somebody can say it's my designations, the training that I've received, the certifications that I have. Those are some of the things that I can use as a leverage to give myself authority. What other things have you found are helpful in an authority play?
You can, again, any questions you're getting from clients, film a 30-second minute video of, hey, I had this recent question from a client. They were asking about X, Y, and Z. This is what I recommended. Again, you don't have to give away the entire playbook, because you do want to respect your clients are paying you for a certain level of service. But if you're giving pieces of it, or here's the first 3 steps of this 6-step playbook. If you want the other 3 steps, more than happy to schedule a call and we can walk through it, see if it makes sense. But just by giving little pieces of that, excuse me, Your newsletter on LinkedIn, same idea. You can even take that reel, pull out the transcript, populate that into a full article. Now you have a much longer content piece. You're going over the exact same thing, so you're repurposing your content. But I've always liked, if what is someone asking me, and then how do I just put that back out to a certain degree, kind of giving the answers, or um, like the book. There's a lot of checklists in there that people can go through and give their own audit. It's not rocket science. It's not, at least not to me. They can jump in and do it, and if they get stuck, we're here to help.
Yeah.
Same from the accounting front. What would you do as an internal check for a client? Turn that into a resource for someone. They're more than likely not going to use it anyways, because it's also free. They don't have that financial commitment to it. They're not as bought in, and then they may just come back and ask for your paid help anyways.
Yeah. The simple rule of thumb that I've always used with this is basically you want to speak of the what's and the whys and have them pay you for the how. So if we can do a good job as authority
That's
figures
awesome.
explaining to our potential customers why something matters, what it exactly is, through that explanation, they're educated. They learn what is important. They learn why it matters to them in their business. But at the end of the day, we haven't explained the how, and the how is what they're going to pay us for. And so that time spending all on that question of what it is, what it is, what it is, why it matters, why it matters, why it matters. All of a sudden, what takes place is they get educated to the point that they realize there's something more they can and should be doing, and they're going to pay you for it. And so that's one of the things that I've used as kind of a litmus test to figure out, am I doing my part to become an authority? The next thing would be a miss if I missed it, and it's where you're a LinkedIn expert and you speak quite a bit of LinkedIn itself, and we don't have time to go into all the nuances of it, but you speak of how leveraging LinkedIn can be a valuable platform to actually grow your business and get the clients that someone's looking for in the accounting space. Why is LinkedIn such a valuable place to still be marketing in today?
It's a B2B. It's where all business owners and decision makers are hanging out. It's a professionals playground. I don't even know if I would really consider it social media if you compare like Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. LinkedIn is very professional content driven. There, you don't get a lot of people posting pictures of their kids or family vacations or the meal they had last night. So always connecting with decision makers there, and then you have your value adds that you're posting. It's a great spot to build authority, because you can get in front of someone even if they're not turning into a customer right away. They're going to see your stuff forever that you post until they either buy from you or they decide to unfollow you. Not a lot of people unfollow you unless you're pretty radical in some of the stuff you're posting.
Well, I've had a number of years leveraging LinkedIn, and I have to say it is a great professional platform to be on. And there are a number of great LinkedIn connections that I've made over the years that I would consider very important professional connections. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm able to celebrate my colleagues' successes as they celebrate online what it is they've been doing and kind of recognize them for that. And at the same time, share some of the wisdoms I've experienced over the years as to how to run a successful accounting business and impart that information on LinkedIn. So clearly, if you haven't connected with either James or myself, I want to invite you to do so now. Look us up on LinkedIn, reach out, send a direct message as it relates to this episode, make mention of the fact that you heard us here, and let's connect, because I think that's one of the things that would be very valuable. So here we've talked about some of the basic things essential for marketing. Let's kind of go more broad and high level. Why do you think accounting professionals struggle so much when it comes to marketing to grow their business? Is there something that you've observed working with the many accounting professionals that you have that's kind of caused this?
I think it's a mindset thing where the industry, and dating back, everyone just relies on referrals, and going out and asking for business isn't how you grow a firm. And it's, well, my sister recommended someone, or my neighbor, and you just sit back and rely on referrals. Well, that's not a marketing strategy. That's kind of praying and hoping that someone else is going to speak about your business. That's not how I want to grow my business personally. And referrals are really inconsistent. A lot of firms as well, they can get great referrals. That's awesome. And it speaks really highly to what you do, but you don't get any control of who you want coming through your front door. You with referrals, you can get any industry coming in. They could be of any size. With marketing, you can choose, I only want dental practices who are making $2+ million a year coming through as a lead. And you can get a very catered message, and then you build your systems around that. So referrals are great. I would never turn them away as they come through, but you just don't have the consistency that you can get with marketing, because you get to determine the narrative of your message.
I love that part. That last part, you get to determine the narrative of your message. I think that's so valuable. It helps us manage what's happening as it relates to people coming to us and what it is they expect us to offer. And yeah, that's very good. Next is regarding sales. You work with so many individuals to help them improve their marketing, to get their messaging out there, to generate potential contacts. But the question then becomes selling them, actually getting them to engage and pay for the services. What do you find accounting professionals struggle with as it relates to closing the deal and getting the client?
Asking questions. I think too many maybe are scared of sales, or they may think it's like they get that yucky feeling of, oh, I don't want to be the used car salesman, for lack of better terms. But if you just sit back and you ask questions, and Mike did an amazing job with this at GrowCon. You just sit back, you ask questions, you be a human,
Uh-huh.
and if they'll eventually sell themselves, because you're just asking them questions for them to identify how much does this hurt, how quick do I want to make a change.
Hmm.
You can guide them, and they'll make the best decision for their business. But a lot we've seen with a lot of firms, they just get on and they start talking about how great they are, and this is what we can do in this column, and we're going to move things around here and there. Like, no one, I personally don't really care how it's done. I just want it done. And what is the end outcome? Sleeping better at night because I know all the financials are taken care of, and now we have a clear path on what to do because the data's there. I don't care about how we move the debits and credits and where we put the ledger and all the other buzzwords in the accounting space. Just like no one cares when we speak and we add in all the marketing buzzwords. They just want the outcome at the end of the day, not
Yeah,
how is it actually done.
this is wonderful. So, as it relates to you, you mentioned at the very beginning that you're involved in, I'm just going to refer to it as a mastermind group, where you're actually working with other professionals in your same space to really kind of learn from a mentor what it is that you can be doing to, more importantly, grow your business. This individual that you're working with and aligning with, you clearly have processes and systems that you're learning from them. What I wanted to ask is, how valuable has that collaboration, that interaction that you've had in that organization, been to your success? What would you suggest to accounting professionals in the sense of why they also should be involved in a group of individuals that are actually helping them strive to be better?
I wouldn't be sitting here without it. Um, it You get to learn from so many people who are ahead of you, and it's really cool being able to give back to others who are looking to get where you are. I've been very guilty in the past of only looking ahead and thinking, okay, I'm not nearly as far as that person there. They're 20x, their business is 20x the size.
Uh-huh.
But there's a nice humbling piece where new members join, maybe their business is a little bit smaller, and you can kind of turn back, and instead of looking up the mountain, you look at how far you've come, and you can be the person to help bridge the gap from where they're at to where you are, to where you're getting to grow, or where you're looking to go. Because sometimes if you're at the very bottom and you see someone at the top, it's hard to relate to what's going on. So you get to be that piece in the middle to also give your guidance from what you've learned, and just that sense of giving back. But yeah, a big piece is you get to avoid all the ditches and maybe the costly mistakes and the errors and the pain that other people have went through by being a part of a mastermind group. So if you can find one in your niche, and you get a community that's open to sharing everything, buy in, pay twice the price, and listen to every single thing that is being shared, because there's a roadmap to the success. And if you just follow the play, again, you can play business on an easier mode instead of trying to do everything by yourself, trying to figure out everything on your own when other people have already done it.
I love that. Excellent advice. And I've experienced it myself. The thing that I really appreciated you mentioning, and I hoped you would have said it, is you begin obviously taking. It's a lot of take in the sense that you're learning from all those others that are ahead of you. But there'll come a moment where you can also give back. And it's that giving that really becomes that beneficial, simply because of the fact that you're now helping those people that are coming behind you. And that's very valuable, because if you look at everything in an abundance mindset, you don't get concerned as these other people are growing their businesses, because they're not at the end of the day your competition. You will have people that resonate with you and will gravitate towards you as clients, and that's one of the things that I think is important to understand. But definitely appreciate your comments related to not only a community but also a mastermind group. The next question is regarding you individually. I know that you've actually done a lot with your business. I've known you for a number of years. You have one thing that I think is quite interesting. So many in the accounting profession are drawn to it because they can work anywhere and basically do things remotely. They can travel. I know a number of individuals that are expats that are fortunately working around the world, but you actually practice and live that. And one of the things that I really admire about you is the fact that you're out there enjoying life while working. Share with my listeners what it is that you do during the winter months, because you're from Canada. You're up in the East Coast, Nova Scotia area and Toronto area, but that's not where you stay during winter. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's way too cold and dark here. So the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 winters, I've been spending a lot of time in Central and South America, primarily in Mexico. I'll go down, get an apartment, get an Airbnb, post up there for a couple months, and then just move around different spots. As long as the internet's stable, business carries on as usual. But I just get to do it from an area where I can get a sunburn, and sometimes the food is a lot cheaper, and you get to see really cool things instead of just the mundane, day to day being at home. So that to me is really important. It was a big driver of why I wanted to always work for myself, as I always wanted to travel the world and work for myself. And now that I can do it, I try to take full advantage of it whenever a trip comes up, or even going out to your event in May, being able to hang back a couple of days after and just work from Salt Lake City. I already flew all that way out there. Why not hang around for a couple of days, work, and then go see some of the sites afterwards? So that to me is just, it's really important.
I love it. No, you're doing an amazing job. I think you're actually living what many people aspire to achieve and experience, and you're doing it. So congratulations. I think you're living life, and that's important. So well done. So here's what I'm going to do to wrap this up. There's a few things that I'd like to extend, one of which is an offer. This is something that I would encourage all of my listeners to take advantage of, and it's, of course, getting a copy of the Book Solid by James Donovan. This is a book that actually goes into so many things that I believe are obvious marketing strategies that you need to quickly and easily implement within your business, but more importantly, how you can now move into that authority play and leverage a lot of these master techniques that James speaks of, and perhaps even consider his services. So go right now to the episode description and get a copy of Book Solid. There is in the episode description a link that you can use to take advantage of that today. The other is, if you'd like to actually take advantage of his services and get more qualified sales calls, you can check out his website, and more importantly, schedule a call with him and his team to discuss more of his services as it relates to having him help you with marketing to get those qualified contacts that you need to grow your business. So definitely check out more of what James offers as it relates to growing your accounting firm. As it relates to this topic, one of the things that I want to encourage you to do is also get a copy of the book, Your Strategic Accountant. It is an ebook written for accounting professionals to understand the 3 core services that you should consider offering as the premier accounting firm in your area. It is specifically that thing you need to be doing to best service your clients. Likewise, I would like to invite you to GrowCon. As James mentioned, each and every year we have an annual event. It is a conference for accounting professionals. It's where you get to come and with your peers hear from the experts those various things that we need to be doing to work on our business, to grow and get the clients we deserve, to take care of the clients that we service, offering quality services, and also work efficiently and profitably to make sure that we're getting paid what we're worth. It's here that you're going to learn the cutting edge things that we need to be doing to have the premier accounting firm in your area. Likewise, you get to meet with your peers, those individuals that are clearly ahead of you and here to inspire you, but also, as we were speaking earlier, give back, give you a chance to actually inspire some of those others that are behind you as to their trajectory, but also willing to learn from you. And then lastly, learn from Universal Accounting. I have my staff there, those individuals who are committed to helping you be in business for yourself, but not by yourself with Universal. Come and meet us and actually see what it is that we're willing to do to assist you on this journey of becoming the premier accounting firm in your area. So definitely get your ticket now, register, go to universalaccounting.com universalaccounting.com, and there in the navigation, you'll find the link to the next event. Get your ticket today, and I'll see you there. Now, as it relates to today's episode, I was very excited about the fact that we were going to discuss James's book, only because in reading it, I noticed that there are a lot of excellent strategies there, ones that I've seen work time and again for many individuals. And I felt that we discussed quite a few of those. One, it's basically leveraging your Google profile and having not only your listing, but at the same time using local ads. Those are two very important things that I think are oftentimes overlooked. And in just basically running your business, two easy places to actually grow your marketing strategy. The other thing was the discussion regarding authority. I can't say enough about the fact that you need to position yourself as to how you're unique and different from your competition. What is it that you come to offer your clients that they won't find elsewhere? What is it that they're willing to pay for that you offer that enable them to appreciate and value your services? That's very important. And he gave some excellent suggestions on how we can basically meet that authority play. I love the fact that he shared at the very beginning why he wrote the book. The book is one way to actually become that authority play. And obviously, you can consider doing the same for yourself. The next thing that I thought was also very valuable as we were discussing LinkedIn, having a presence on there, leveraging that, and more importantly, connecting with James and myself on LinkedIn. So definitely encourage you to take advantage of LinkedIn and learn what more you can be doing there to grow your business and make the connections you deserve. So wonderful insights as it relates to business. And then as we were talking about marketing and sales, definitely just consider how you are focusing in your marketing strategy and what it is you do to take the conversations you're having to actually become sales or clients of yours through the sales process. So wonderful little thoughts or tidbits of information in there. James, what would you like to leave as a closing thought?
Closing thought is get on Google, get where people are looking for your service. You're doing yourself a disservice by not, and you're giving away all of the potential business your firm could attract to your competitors who are already sitting there. So do yourself a favor, get your Google business profile set up. If you already have it, start getting a ton of reviews and start climbing the ranks and get the business that you deserve.
Perfect. I love that. So, as a wrap up of this, if you haven't already subscribe to the podcast. We'd love to have you come back here and listen to each and every episode that we have. We've also put together a binge list for you if you're interested in specific topics that relate to your current situation in business, whether it's marketing, selling, mental health, perhaps it's training your staff, tech stack. Go to the episode description and actually find there the information you need to play the playlists and binge listen those. You can also go to universalaccounting.com and there in the navigation, find the podcast section and find the playlist there that we've highlighted. Those are the things that I would encourage you to do. I would also invite you to get your GrowthCon ticket. And lastly, if you'd like to discuss this and other principles related to building the premier accounting firm in your area, check out Universal Accounting School. There we list our various programs such as becoming a profit and growth expert, becoming a professional tax preparer, or even becoming a professional bookkeeper. Just a few of the programs that we offer to assist you as you're building your firm, offering quality accounting services. So for this and anything else, give us a phone call. You can reach us at 801-265-3777. Otherwise, have a beautiful day, and always remember this: accounting success is universal. Take care and be safe out there. James, that was awesome.
Thank you so much, Roger. It's always a pleasure doing these with
Yeah.
you.
Easy discussions. You're always wonderful to speak with. So here's what I'm going to have you do. I put in that private chat, that recording
Yep.
script. When you're ready, I'm going to have you record that as well.
Perfect. Awesome. This is James Donovan. It was an absolute pleasure to record with Roger an episode of Building the Premier Accounting Firm. We discussed how to grow your business on Google, where customers are searching, how to gain the business that you deserve to attract. I invite you to listen and join us. Can I redo that one?
Yeah, you can. Go right ahead.
Okay, I'll do it quickly for you.
No, you're fine.
This is James Donovan. It was an absolute pleasure to record with Roger an episode of Building the Premier Accounting Firm. We discussed how to attract clients the easy way instead of the hard way. Get on Google, go where customers are looking for your service, be visible, get the business you deserve. I invite you to listen and join us.
Perfect. That was awesome.